Hello and welcome to the Frank B. Kermit Lecture Series. Today's topic is Women, Jerks, and Relationships. How to steal her away from the jerk. Okay, the first thing we're going to talk about is we're going to define a jerk. Now, for the purposes of this seminar, we're going to define a jerk as a guy who uses things like violence, intimidation, insults, attacks on her character, in order to try and control the women he's with as a means of relationship management. I'm not talking about when a guy maybe just loses his temper and he yells at a girl, because the fact is, couples fight. When you're with a girl and you're in a relationship, you're going to fight. You're human beings. There's going to be times when she pisses you off. There's going to be times that you piss her off and she's going to be yelling and screaming at you. That's normal part of interaction. What's not normal is when violence erupts between the two people. When he throws a slap, she throws a punch, him calling her names, him trying to undermine her value of herself, his insulting and threatening her. These are things that I classify as jerk behavior. And for some reason, women seem to respond to that behavior. Now, I want to make it very clear here, the difference between what a woman likes and what she responds. Now, if you can understand this, you're going to understand why women date jerks to begin with. Because for most guys, it does not make logical sense. Why would she want to be with a jerk? I would treat her better. Because it's not about logic. She knows, she has a brain. She knows that she could do better, logically. But a jerk will commit certain behaviors that she cannot help but find attractive. Okay? That's the key here. She responds to the behaviors. She doesn't even like it. She does not even like what he's doing, but she responds to it. It's the same thing that I teach guys about addressing the emotional needs of women. Women may not like who you are or what you stand for, but they still will respond to the right sense of behaviors. So the first thing I want to go over is women's emotional needs and how the jerk addresses them. Because the fact is that a jerk with his behaviors, as most guys would figure, wouldn't address the emotional needs directly, and they don't. But the behaviors of a jerk will address a woman's emotional needs indirectly. Let's look at women's emotional need number 1, the protection of her reputation. Now, if she's dating a jerk, her reputation obviously might take a hit. As guys, that's the way we would see it. She's dating a low-quality guy because he has to beat her. She's dating a low-quality guy because he has to yell at her. He has to insult her. But that's not what's actually happening. Her reputation is actually being protected because she gets to play the victim. Especially for those low-value women out there. The ones who are dysfunctional or trapped in bad, repeating, dysfunctional behavior patterns. Being with a jerk actually protects her reputation because she gets to blame the jerk for everything. So let's say it's a woman who wants to drop out of school. Well, she'll date a guy who maybe is a high school dropout, a jerk, and she gets to blame him. Now, as guys who really love women, we say, I can't believe that. I can't believe that he would allow her to drop out of school. If I was dating her, I would never let that happen. I'd encourage her to stay in school. Well, if she was looking to drop out of school, and you would encourage her to stay in school, she now has a motivation to date some guy who wouldn't care whether or not she dropped out of school. And she gets to blame him. Oh, it's his fault that I dropped out of school. So when you tell a woman, you know what, hanging out with him is hurting your reputation, well, not really, because even if she ever breaks up with him, she can always turn around and say, oh, that guy was such a jerk. It's all his fault. Does she want to experiment with things that maybe the jerk is into, but she doesn't want to take responsibility for it? Wonderful. She gets to blame the jerk. It's an incredibly convenient setup. One of the things that I teach men as part of addressing women's emotional needs is the idea that, as a man, everything that happens in the relationship is your fault. When the two of you have sex, it's all your fault. This is the same premise that jerks get away with protecting a woman's reputation because he's a jerk. Women want to feel an emotional range, emotional need number 2 of women. The jerk constantly keeps women feeling unbalanced. He doesn't ever make her happy. He'll give her happy moments. But he's also going to do things to piss her off. He might even break up with her for no reason. And then get back together. And then things are fine for a few weeks. And then he explodes again. And they break up. And he makes her mad. And he could be angry about something else, but take it out on her. She's going through a wonderful emotional roller coaster. And as guys, we don't understand that because the emotional need of men is quiet time. We want recharge time. The more things are stable, the healthier it is for us emotionally. But when women go through that emotional range, oh my goodness, the drama, they feel alive. And that's why jerks are so addictive. This is why women keep going back to that. It isn't that they like being slapped around. It's the drama that comes in being in a relationship with a jerk. That's what they're going back to. Now, here's a little caveat for you guys. If a woman dates jerks regularly, something you better be prepared for if you want to be with a girl who's dated a lot of jerks, she's going to need that kind of emotional range. She's going to need that kind of drama. And the more she's dated jerks, the more used to the drama she is. The more addicted to the drama she's become. One of the things we're going to talk about a little bit later in this lecture is the idea that there are some women